Oh, they thought they could break you, didn't they? Thought they could twist your soul into knots, leave you gasping for air like some discarded plaything. They played their games, spun their webs, and laughed behind clenched teeth when you weren't looking. But here's the thing, they made one fatal mistake, one glaring oversight that will haunt them until their dying breath. They forgot about him. Yeah, him. The one who sees everything. The one who doesn't sleep, doesn't blink, doesn't miss a single move they've ever made. You feel it, don't you? That burning sensation deep inside your chest like molten lava coursing through your veins. It's not just anger. It's something bigger than that. Something primal. That fire, it's the voice of truth calling out to you. It's the cry of justice, echoing in the silence where lies once thrived. You might try to ignore it, push it down, pretend it isn't there, but you can't. Because it's real, and so is what's coming for them. Oh yes, they have no idea what's waiting on the other side of their arrogance. They strut around like kings, these people who wronged you, heads held high, smirking at the wreckage they left behind. To them, you're nothing more than a ghost, a shadow of someone they used to know. Broken, crushed, forgotten, or so they think. But let me tell you something, you're not broken. Not really. No, you're waking up. Slowly but surely you're realizing the truth. Realizing that every lie they told, every knife they twisted, every cruel word they whispered it, all matters. Every single bit of it. And God, He remembers too. See, the problem with people like them is that they forget how the world works. They think they're untouchable, invincible even, like the rules don't apply to them. But oh, how wrong they are. There's an order to things, a balance that must be maintained. Justice doesn't just disappear because they wish it would. No, it lingers, waits, builds momentum like a storm brewing on the horizon. And when it finally breaks, it won't just rain, it'll pour on them, all over them, until they're drowning in the consequences of their own actions. Let them enjoy their little victory lap for now. Let them bask in the illusion that they've gotten away with it, that they've escaped unscathed. But trust me, they haven't. Not by a long shot. Because God doesn't forget. He doesn't overlook. Every sneer, every betrayal, every moment they stood over you and reveled in your pain, it's all been recorded. Written down in ink that can't be erased. And when the time comes, and it will come, they'll realize exactly what they've done, exactly who they've crossed. Maybe you've wondered why this happened to you, why you had to endure the weight of their deceit, their cruelty, their sheer disregard for anything resembling decency. Maybe you've asked yourself if you deserved it, if somehow, somewhere along the way, you brought this upon yourself. But let me stop you right there. This isn't about you, not entirely anyway. It's about them, their greed, their selfishness, their refusal to acknowledge the humanity of others. What they did to you wasn't just personal, it was cosmic. A slap in the face to the very fabric of morality. And God doesn't take kindly to that. Think about it. If life were truly random, if injustice could reign supreme without consequence, then what kind of existence would we have? Chaos. Pure, unrelenting chaos. But that's not how it works. There's a force greater than any of use of force that ensures fairness prevails. Even if it takes time, even if it feels like forever, that force is God. And He's watching. Always watching. Taking note of every misstep, every calculated blow, every attempt to diminish your worth. And when He decides it's time to act, there will be no escape, no hiding, just reckoning. You want to know what hurts the most for them? It's not the guilt, not yet anyway. It's the fact that they genuinely believe they've won, that they've outsmarted everyone, including you, including God. They look at you and see weakness, vulnerability, someone they can crush underfoot without a second thought. But they're wrong, dead wrong. Because the person standing before them, the one they think they've destroyed, isn't the same person anymore. You've changed, evolved, grown stronger in ways they'll never understand. While they were busy celebrating their supposed triumph, you were rebuilding, reforging yourself into something unbreakable, something unstoppable. And that's what scares them the most, though they don't realize it yet. Deep down, beneath all their bravado and false confidence, they sense it. That nagging feeling that something isn't quite right. That maybe, just maybe, they've underestimated you. Underestimated God. But instead of confronting it, they bury it. Distract themselves with more lies, more manipulation, more attempts to convince the world and themselves that they're untouchable. Meanwhile, the storm keeps building. Growing fiercer with each passing day. Here's the kicker. They don't get it. They don't understand that their actions have consequences. That every choice they've made, every scheme they've concocted has set them on a collision course with destiny, with judgment. They think they're clever, weaving their intricate webs of deception, pulling strings like puppet masters. But what they fail to see is that those strings are tied to something much larger than themselves, something they can't control, something they can't outrun. Every time they hurt you, every time they looked you in the eye and lied straight to your face, God was there, watching, listening, taking mental notes. And let me tell you, His memory is impeccable. Nothing slips past Him. Not a single tear you shed. Not a single sleepless night spent replaying their betrayal in your mind. Not a single moment of doubt or despair. He saw it all, heard it all, felt it all, and He doesn't let that slide. Not for anyone, not even for them. So go ahead, let them laugh, let them gloat, let them think they've emerged victorious. Because when the tide turns sand it will turn, they'll wish they'd never laid a finger on you. They'll wish they'd never underestimated the power of divine justice. When the hammer falls, it won't just shatter their illusions. It'll obliterate them. Leave them scrambling for answers, for mercy, for anything to make the pain stop. But it'll be too late. Far too late. Justice isn't rushed. It doesn't operate on our timetable. Instead, it simmers, brews, gathers strength until it's ready to strike. And when it does, it hits hard, swiftly, without warning. There's a beauty in that, don't you think? A poetic symmetry to the way the universe writes itself. How the scales tip back into balance. How those who sought to destroy are ultimately destroyed by their own hubris, by their own blindness, by their own refusal to recognize the hand of God moving against them. But here's the thing. You don't need to lift a finger, don't need to plot revenge or scheme for payback. That's not your job. Your role is simpler than that, more powerful even. All you have to do is wait. Bide your time. Trust that the wheels of justice are already in motion. While they're out there running their mouths, laughing at your expense, thinking they've secured their place atop the pedestal, you're standing firm, silent, patient, letting the storm gather strength, letting God do what He does best. Because here's the truth, silence isn't weakness, it's power, it's control. Every moment you hold your tongue, every second you resist the urge to lash out, you're proving them wrong, showing them that they haven't broken you, that you're still here, still standing, still fighting, even if it's not in the way they expect, and that terrifies them. Even if they don't admit it, even if they refuse to acknowledge it, they know. Deep down, they know. They've underestimated you, underestimated God, and that's going to cost them dearly. Let them keep digging their own graves, keep piling lie upon lie, betrayal upon betrayal, until the weight becomes unbearable, until the foundation they've built their lives on crumbles beneath them, until they're forced to confront the reality they've tried so desperately to avoid. Because when that day comes, and it will come, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. No excuses, no loopholes, just the cold, hard truth staring them in the face. And you'll rise. Not because you sought vengeance, not because you stooped to their level, but because God doesn't let His people stay down for long. He lifts them up, strengthens them, reminds them of their worth, of their purpose, of the fact that they were never alone in this fight, never abandoned, never forgotten. Through every trial, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt, He was there, guiding you, protecting you, preparing you for the moment when the tables would finally turn. So remember that. Remember who's really in control. Remember that justice isn't just a concept, it's a promise, a vow, a guarantee that those who sow seeds of destruction will reap what they've sown. That those who mock the righteous will face the full weight of their folly. That those who defy God will answer for it. And when that day arrives, When the reckoning they've earned finally descends upon them, they'll know, all they'll know, they'll wish they'd never crossed you, never disrespected you, never forgotten the one rule they couldn't afford to break. God sees everything. Until then, stand tall, hold steady, trust in the process. Let the fire within you burn brighter with each passing day. Use it as fuel, as motivation, as a reminder that you're not just surviving, you're thriving, that you're not just enduring, you're overcoming, that you're not just waiting, you're preparing for the day when the storm finally breaks, when justice rolls in like a tidal wave, when the wicked are swept away and the righteous are lifted higher than ever before. And when that happens, when the dust settles and the smoke clears, you'll look back on this moment and realize something profound. You were never alone, never defeated, never forgotten, because God was with you every step of the way, and He always will be. You ever notice how they carry themselves like kings strutting through a kingdom that doesn't belong to them? Heads high, shoulders back, like nothing can touch them. They think they're untouchable, don't they? Invincible, unbreakable, as if the universe bends to their will. But here's the truth they refuse to see. No one escapes accountability. Not really. Sure, they might look good, now flashy smiles, confident strides, but it's all an illusion. A mirage built on sand. And when the tide rolls in and, oh, it will roll, and that foundation will crumble beneath their feet. They don't realize it yet, but they're already losing. Every step they take toward their so-called victory is another step closer to their downfall. Every lie they tell adds another brick to the wall that'll eventually trap them. Every cruel word they spit into the wind comes back around, circling like vultures waiting for the right moment to strike. They're digging their own graves with every move they make, and they don't even know it. Or maybe they do. Maybe deep down in the darkest corners of their minds, they sense it. That nagging feeling that something isn't quite right. That maybe, just maybe, they've made a mistake, a big one. But instead of stopping, instead of facing what they've done, they double down, they dig deeper, they twist the knife harder, thinking it'll keep them safe, keep them ahead, keep them in control. What fools, blind, arrogant fools. Because the thing about control is this: it's never truly theirs, never fully within their grasp. No matter how tightly they cling to it, no matter how hard they try to manipulate the world around them, there's always something bigger at play, something they can't see, something they can't fight, something they can't outrun. That something is God. Oh yes, He's been watching every second of their charade, every calculated move, every underhanded trick, every attempt to diminish you, to erase your worth. They thought they could hide from Him, didn't they? Thought they could operate in the shadows, away from His gaze. But let me tell you something. There are no shadows where God resides. No darkness he can't penetrate. No corner of the earth or the heart he doesn't see. Every smirk, every whisper, every scheme, they're all recorded, written in ink that doesn't fade, etched into the fabric of eternity. And here's the kicker. They forgot about eternity. Yeah, that's right. Eternity. While they were busy chasing fleeting victories, stacking temporary wins like trophies, they lost sight of the bigger picture, the eternal one. They forgot that life isn't just about today or tomorrow. It's about forever, about legacy, about consequences that stretch beyond the grave. They thought they could cheat the system, dodge the bullet, rewrite the rules in their favor, but they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because the rules weren't written by them, they were written by God. And God doesn't negotiate. So go ahead. Let them revel in their delusions. Let them believe they're untouchable. Let them strut and preen and puff out their chests like peacocks, displaying feathers that aren't even real. Because when the reckoning comes, and mark my words, it will come, they won't have anywhere to run, nowhere to hide, no excuses to fall back on. Their lies will unravel, their schemes will collapse. Their carefully constructed facades will shatter into a million pieces. And when the dust settles, they'll be left standing naked before the truth, before justice, before God. What happens then? Oh, you better believe they'll feel it. Every ounce of pain they caused you, every tear they made you shed, every sleepless night they forced upon you. It'll all come rushing back to them tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. They'll taste the bitterness of their own medicine, feel the weight of their own choices, realize the depth of their own folly. And trust me, they won't like it, not one bit. Because unlike you, who endured their cruelty with resilience and grace, they won't have the strength to bear it. They won't have the courage to face it. They'll break, shatter, collapse under the weight of their own sins. But here's the beauty of it. You won't have to lift a finger, not a single one. This isn't your battle to fight. It never was. Your role is simple. Stand firm, stay steady, trust in the process. Let God handle the rest. Because here's the thing about divine justice, it doesn't need your help. It doesn't require your input. It operates on its own timetable, in its own way, with precision and purpose. When it arrives, it does so without hesitation, without mercy, without compromise. It levels the playing field, rights the wrongs, restores the balance, and it does it all without asking for permission. Let them laugh now, let them gloat, let them bask in the illusion of their superiority, because when the storm hits sand, it will hit. They'll wish they'd never laid a finger on you. They'll wish they'd never underestimated God. They'll wish they'd chosen a different path. But by then, it'll be too late. Far too late. The wheels are already in motion. The scales are already tipping. The reckoning is already on its way. All you have to do is wait, watch, witness. And when it finally arrives, when the full force of divine justice crashes down upon them, you'll understand something profound. This wasn't just about you. It was never just about you. Yes, they hurt you, betrayed you, tried to destroy you, but in doing so, they disrespected God. They mocked his laws, defied his principles, challenged his authority. And that's where they crossed the line. That's where they sealed their fate. Because God doesn't tolerate disrespect, not from anyone, not for any reason. Those who defy him will answer for it. Plain and simple. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering why. Why you? Why now? Why this particular trial, these particular wounds, these particular scars? And the answer is this: because you're stronger than they realize, stronger than they ever gave you credit for, stronger than even you might believe right now. This wasn't just a test of endurance, it was a test of character, of faith, of resolve. And guess what? You passed with flying colors. Through every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, you proved yourself worthy. Worthy of redemption, worthy of restoration, worthy of victory. Because here's the truth: God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow suffering without purpose. Every hardship you've endured has shaped you, molded you, strengthened you, turned you into someone unrecognizable to those who once sought to break you. Someone unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. While they were busy tearing you down, you were rebuilding yourself, reforging your spirit, reigniting your fire. And when the time comes, when justice finally descends, you'll emerge victorious. Not because you sought revenge, but because you trusted in God, trusted in his plan, trusted in his timing. So hold on, hold tight, don't give up, don't lose hope. Even when it feels like the world is against you, remember this: you're not alone. Never have been, never will be. God is with you. Always has been, always will be. He sees your pain, hears your cries, feels your anguish, and he's using it to prepare you for what's coming next, for the triumph that awaits, for the glory that's already yours. When the tables turned, they will turn, you'll rise. Higher than ever before, stronger than ever before, brighter than ever before. And they'll fall, harder than they ever imagined, faster than they ever expected, deeper than they ever feared. Because that's how justice works. That's how God operates. He lifts up the humble, brings down the proud, rewards the faithful, punishes the wicked. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. So let them laugh. Let them gloat. Let them believe they've won. Because in the end, they'll realize the truth. The same truth you've known all along. God sees everything, remembers everything, judges everything. And when he moves, when he acts, when he delivers justice, it's final, irreversible, unstoppable. And you'll be standing tall, unbroken, unbound, unafraid, because you trusted in Him, trusted in His promises, trusted in His justice. And that trust, it will carry you through, carry you forward, carry you higher, until the day comes when the storm breaks, when the reckoning arrives, when the wicked are brought low and the righteous are lifted high. Until then, stay strong, stay steady, stay faithful. The best is yet to come.